I never see you anymore, but I saw you a month ago. You were at my brother's wedding.
That's right. It's weddings in your talk show.
That's it. That's where I see you. And I was lucky enough years ago now to be at your wedding.
Yes.
Which was a fantastic wedding. And I had a memory today when I was thinking about it. And I want you to verify for me. Okay. I remember you had a beautiful wedding gown, and then it was sort of dance floor times, and you had a moment where you just weren't feeling the restriction of your dress, and you just tore off the bottom of your dress.
It was so foolish. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. I felt like a cupcake on my wedding, you know, like prancing around. And by the end of the night, we were all dancing, and I wanted to be free. And so we just cut it all the way up, and it's literally in our garage in Idaho right now in some like cardboard box with ugly little pins across it.
So you saved the bottom half.
Exactly.
It was so funny because at the time I was like, oh my God, they must have had that planned. And people were like, that was not planned.
That was not planned.
Scissors, if there are scissors, it is not planned.
It's so true. It was terrible. But you gave the most amazing toast at our wedding.
Oh,
and
thank
then
you.
At Josh and Mackenzie's wedding, your toast was so beautiful.
Thank you very much. That's very, you know, it's kind of my bread and butter. That's all I bring to the table. If you're wondering what their gift was, that was it.
It was amazing. I mean, you talked about how, like, you know, your friends are your family. And that's so true, you know, and you surround yourself with such incredible people. So.
Well, and we were very lucky. We have a lot of overlap in our friendships, and so that made it a nice night, too. Congratulations on this show. This is based on a podcast, was it Boomtown?
That's right, Christian Wallace.
Christian Wallace, and then Taylor Sheridan, who, of course, we know from Yellowstone. So the two of them created this together. Did you know anything about Boomtown? Did you listen to the podcast?
I had never listened to it before, but, you know, once I got the job, I was like, okay, I need to know more about this as I started to research it. Christian really brought the authenticity to it. His family's from the Permian Basin in Midland, Odessa, in West Texas. And so as we dive into like this dangerous world of oil, you have Taylor who's bringing these prolific characters and these amazing storylines, and then you have Christian that makes it very authentic.
That's good. So an oil man would watch this show and be like, "It good."
It's good.
Yeah.
Oil. You wouldn't say oil though. You'd say oil.
Well, you did work. You had to work on the accent. And by the way, and I will say, I believe the scene we saw was your first day of shooting. And so you have to do a Texas accent.
That's right.
In front of Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh my God, I know, Mr. Arkansas, but it's like, the accent was so specific. Everything in this job was just like, it was big time. You know, I was working with Oscar winners. Taylor is such an incredible storyteller, and you know, part of it is also the mental game. You know, like you do the work, you know, I work with my acting coach and dialect, but then you have to show up. And the way that Taylor shoots, there's no rehearsal. There's no blocking. This is my first day of shooting. I'm in 5-inch heels, getting off a G5, and I'm like waiting, you know, I'm hoping we're gonna like, you know, have a little run through. Action! Out I come, and it is just like the Wild West, and off we go.
That's so fantastic. Well, it looked great, so the process works.
You have to know it backwards on Taylor's shows. That's what I think it is. It's like, you can't get nervous. You have to know your stuff so great that, you know, when the pressure and when it hits the fan, that you can still deliver.
I've heard you say this is a very rewarding role, one of the more rewarding you've played. Is it just that it's a character unlike anything you've done before?
You know, I mean, I think in Taylor Sheridan's universe, women don't expire. And
that's a very nice way to put it.
It's true. I mean, he writes women of all ages that are powerful and sexy, and he also then, what I love about this character specifically is that he also takes you into the darkness of the night when she's raw and vulnerable and breaking down. And so you definitely see her, you know, in all her glory. She's a firecracker. But then you see, you know, her motivations, and you see, you know, that she's just trying to put her family back together.
I know that this was an arduous audition process as well. It must have been a part you really wanted. And then you had something unfortunate happen, like right in the middle of it.
God. Okay, so a lot of people get his stuff. He does all the movie stars, but you know, I was not one of them, so I auditioned 3 times, and then I had to screen test for this. And the strike happened, and it kept getting delayed, and I was like, oh, okay. Finally, it was time to get into, you know, character. I'm working with the acting coach, dialect coach, and I have to get in shape because this character wears a lot of bikinis.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you gotta pull it together. You wanna feel great. So I'm at my treadmill class, and I'm running. It's 2 weeks before we start filming. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get the body going. And I go out to the car, and I have the dogs in the car, and I open up the hatchback. So we have a big Bernese and then a baby Bernese.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? And so the baby Bernese will not get in the car, and I have my hat on, and I'm trying to wrangle this puppy, and I can't get it in, and the hatchback's open, and I finally grab the puppy, and I throw it in, and I crack the corner of my head into the hatchback.
Oh, no.
I drop to the ground. Blood is gushing down my face. I can't even take this. It's like giving me PTSD. I am crawling through the snow, like 4 feet of snow, up to the treadmill class, and I'm banging on the door. And my girlfriend Ryan comes up to it, and she's looking at me, and I am freaking out. And she's like, "You're gonna be okay. You definitely broke your nose. Maybe lost an eye." And I'm like, call Hayes. And we race to the hospital. And I just, I can't believe it. It's 2 weeks that I think I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
I think this job is over.
That
It's
I
already
will say
done.
that opening scene would have been way different if you walked out with only and like a missing eye. If you're like, "Hey y'all," you'd be like, "Oh, where is that confidence coming from?"
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But they might. I mean, it healed up nice. You can't even
It
tell.
healed up, but I live in small town Idaho in the mountains, so we get to the hospital and we walk in and I'm like, "I need to see a doctor. I'm leaving to shoot in 2 weeks."
Yeah.
And she was like, "What are you going hunting for?"
Of course.
Swear to God. And I was like screaming. I was like, "It's over for me.
Yeah.
Just forget it."
That's
Toss it in.
fantastic. Well, I bounced back and it all worked out. The last time you were here, it
Yes.
was right before season 1 of this show premiered. And I don't think, obviously, you were very proud of it, but
Yeah.
you could not have imagined what this show has become. It is
No,
just
but you
nuts.
were the first one to believe in me and the show, the very first, and then
Wow.
like the rest of the world caught on.
Very nice.
You were number one, so thank you.
But I should say,
Yeah.
I am such a look. We're old friends. We know each other very
Yes.
well. I was lucky enough to be at your wedding. Even if you were in something super, I would have you on the show.
I've been in some ones and you've had me on, so thank you.
Thank you for being in a good one.
Oh my God. I know, exactly. Thank God for that. I'm so excited.
I mean, it's so great. And, the season 2 premiered. Over 9 million people watched it in
Yes.
2 days.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're all aware now that it's a runaway hit. But how different is it on the streets? I mean, you must get approached all the time about this
Well,
show.
we live in a small town in Idaho now, so everyone's kind of blasé about me. It's no big deal. But it's my daughter's 11th birthday, Vivian, this week.
Yeah.
And so I brought her on this trip, as all working moms do. You just have to do it all. And we get to the hotel, and there's a ton of paparazzi taking pictures. And she's like, "Who's here? Who's here?" And it was like, oh, she's kind of going to realize what I do for a living now.
By the way, it's what a
Maybe she'll be
bummer
nice to me.
for an 11-year-old girl in New York City to find out, like, "Oh, you're here?"
Yeah. Such a disappointment for her.
Yeah.
Totally.
But has there been anyone, have you gotten recognized by anybody in the city that maybe is like exciting to?
Yes, I mean, well, look, this is my favorite city in the world.
Yeah.
I'm from Jersey, and being back here is the best. I love New York City. I love it. And one of my favorite restaurants is that very chic Polo Lounge.
Yeah, very hard. Very
It's
hard
just
to get a
like
table.
Very
Yeah.
hard. Best food, great martinis, and we decided to take the girls there for this birthday dinner. And so we're there on Monday night. And it's probably like 8:39, and there's like a beat, there's a vibe happening, and this woman across the room catches my eye. And she has kind of like this twinkle, and she's looking at me, and I'm clocking her, and Martha Stewart starts walking straight at me, okay? And I'm going, "Oh my gosh, is that Martha?" She comes up to the table in this huge white fur, like this bold, she's like a lioness. And she looks at me and she goes, "I wait until 12:01 every Sunday to watch your show."
Oh.
And then she looks at Vivian and she goes, "Your mother is a badass." And we were just like all enamored, like in this surreal moment of Martha Stewart, who
Yeah.
I love, who's like the queen, the icon, and she's a Landman fan.
I mean,
I'll take it.
It's great. And again, anytime you can get praised in front of your children, like that's what you live for.
It's
Yeah.
actually the truth.
And then
It's
she
the
walked
truth.
away, and I'm sure your daughter was like, "Did you pay that woman?
Who is that woman?
Who is that woman? And
Who is
did you
that
pay her?"
woman?
Right? Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Martha Stewart, icon, but I
Can
would
I have your
imagine a
phone?
lot of 11-year-old girls are like, "Who
Yes,
dat?"
total, 100%.
You guys obviously shoot in Texas, the Fort
Yeah.
Worth area.
Yeah.
You've shot on campus at TCU, giant
We
school.
did. I think one of the things that makes the show really special and authentic is that Taylor uses, like, the day players are real college students at TCU.
Yeah.
And when you're shooting on the oil rigs, he goes out and he has the real men that run these rigs. So you can feel just a level of authenticity that you don't always get.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, TCU is so welcoming, and I love also, like, Texas is almost like, a character in our show. I mean, the heat's part of it. We're always hot. We're just, like, in it, and we get to shoot where it's real.
It's
So,
definitely, it's not a controlled set.
Yes.
You're
no.
shooting in Texas, and I think
sweating
one of
all
the
the
things
time.
about a lot of Taylor Sheridan shows, and I think one of the reasons people are so drawn to him is like, some of the most incredible backdrops. You're shooting on everything Texas has to offer. But are there difficulties? I mean, you talked about the heat. Are there things that ever go wrong?
We had a scene this season where it was like, it's the end of the day. We have a huge crew, it's high pressure, and we are like rushing to get this shot. And it's supposed to be one of those epic Texas sunsets where the egg drops. So it's like, I'm standing there in this wide open field, barefoot, jean shorts, and they're rushing, and I hear action. And I'm standing there and I'm looking out of the horses. And all of a sudden I feel something crawling between my toes. And I look down, and there are fire ants biting my toes. But then I feel Billy coming up behind me, and I'm like, I just have to live through this. So I lean to him, and I go into the scene, and I do the scene with him. And all of a sudden, I hear cut, and Stephen Kay, our director, runs up, and he's like, Allie, you were so emotional. You were so connected. And I'm like, I'm crying because I was getting bit by fire ants. And I was scared they were going to yell at me because they weren't going to get the shot. So.
Oh my God. The
and I get
bummer
welts.
now is like anytime you're doing a scene where they feel like you're not reaching that peak, they're gonna be like, get the ants.
Get the ants.
Bring the ants in.
I mean, it's crazy. I had welts on my feet. I mean, the show takes a toll on this bod.
I mean, I will say,
like-
again, these are rough and tumble characters. I like the authenticity there. Angela, one of the funniest things about the show is the theme parties that your character hosts.
Oh, thank
and,
you.
And there's a really great scene at a pirate theme party.
Yeah.
And is it fun to actually? I mean, I would imagine like anytime you get to dress up like a pirate and not actually be in a pirate show, that
It's
feels
definitely
like
fun. More fun to see everyone else in the pirate outfits. Our cast is so incredible, and having Sam Elliott join is just like, we have legends.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a bunch of these rebellious actors that have kind of done it their way, and to be able to work against them is just incredible. When we were shooting that scene, it was actually a couple episodes before that was Sam's first day when we got to meet him. And he was sitting outside. He doesn't even want a director's chair. He sits on an apple box. He comes first thing in the morning, whether he's working or not. He just wants to be there and be part of it. And he's so kind to the crew. So he's kind of sitting there looking out. And I just sat right on the arm of his chair and just started chatting. And he connected with me and was so open, and just like the icon legend that he is. He just brings so much soul to our show.
It's amazing. I mean, to begin with, to start with Billy Bob and then add Sam Elliott, it's really truly something.
Yeah, and sometimes people make fun. Like on the show, like Billy's always riding Angela, not literally, but kind of.
It is one of the appeals. It is one of the appeals.
Sometimes the characters in the show aren't super kind, like Jacob to Ainsley and all that. And Sam Elliott's character comes in TL, and he's so sweet to us. And he kind of sees the joy that Angela and Ainsley bring. And my character, spends so much time in the old folks' home. It's like giving her this awakening, of like this purpose in life. And it's family first for her. So she moves him into the house, and you kind of see her worth to the family this season.
That's fantastic. You've got a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old.
I do.
They are now, that's getting to the age where there's certainly some of your work that you can show them. I mean, have they watched Legally Blonde? I mean, what are they watching?
I think Vivian watched Legally Blonde. Teddy watched it years ago. he really has no interest.
Yeah.
Neither of my kids, parents know it. Like the most humbling thing you can have as a child.
Right. It truly is.
It truly is.
I do have a fear about your 15-year-old son because I like sports fan, right?
Yes.
At some point, right, like they start going through sports movies and like Varsity Blues comes up.
Oh my God.
And
I thought you were going to say he's not a Bears fan because my husband's like after him for not being
Is
a
he
Chicago.
not a Bears
No,
fan?
and my husband's like ready to kill him.
Who does he root for? Is he
Roots for,
Rams?
Whoever he wants.
Oh my God.
Not even the Eagles for my dad. The kid is like a
He's his own guy.
He's his own guy.
But Varsity Blues, fantastic movie, one of the best movies of the
Thank you.
90s, super rewatchable. You're in Varsity Blues in a way that might be,
Oh my God. It's still, I have scarred my husband, I've scarred my dad, I have scarred my son.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But hopefully the rest of the world likes it.
I get a test. Fortunately, enough time has passed that I can tell you that they did.
Okay. But I wanted to show her vulnerable side.
Absolutely. And you
that's
did
what
that.
it's all about, is
did a
being
great
vulnerable.
job. Congratulations on everything.
you.
It's so
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Are you? I know your husband Hayes MacArthur very well. There is a big Bears game this weekend. Will
Yes.
you? Are you supportive of the
I
timing?
am. So, we live in the cold, and he sat outside, smoking cigars, watching it. My son was actually very involved. The last Bears game was extraordinary.
amazing. Yeah,
So
all-timer.
he was just like panicked and excited and
Why did he have to be
screaming.
outside?
He wanted to feel like he was in Chicago.
Oh.
So he put on jackets and put the TV on outside and blankets.
I forget he's insane. That's so funny.
Right
Did
there.
he really want to
Yes.
make it cold enough?
Yes, he wanted to feel like he was there, so they just froze, so I couldn't watch the game with him.
Oh my God.
I was not going through that pain.
That's fantastic. I love him so much.
He
I mean, I
loves
wouldn't
you.
have married him, but. You're shooting Landman near Odessa, Texas, which is where you shot the wonderful film Friday Night Lights.
Right.
I'm wondering, have you shot in any of the same locations? Have you run into people you met on that film?
Yeah, actually, we shot the first season of Landman. We mainly shoot around Fort Worth, in and around Fort Worth. But we were out in Odessa for a few days, and we actually shot a couple of scenes at the stadium where we did Friday Night Lights, and I kind of got a chill when I got there. But there were a lot of background actors, obviously, because it's a football game. And some of them would come up to me, like, a 25-year-old guy come up to me and his sister or something and say, our dad was an extra in Friday Night Lights and stuff. So it was like the next generation of background actors. And we were shooting on the 20-year anniversary of Friday Night Lights when we were out there, yeah.
You talk about getting chills. I think a lot of people got chills. The halftime speech. Look, you've had a lot of iconic moments in film, but like that's really right up there as one of the more heart pounding. Did you know when you were shooting it? Or are you like, oh, this is a good one right here?
You kind of know, but you never know what the audience is going to think. I mean, even when you're in the middle of something you think is. When you think you're awesome,
Yeah. Well, that
and
is,
then the
I will
reviews
say,
come
yeah.
out and but no, I mean, usually you kind of have an idea that this might be special. And that particular monologue, I had just gone through a thing that was not easy to deal with. And I asked Pete Berg, the director, I said, look, do you care if I kind of go off the page a little on this one? And I did. So all that stuff about if you can look your teammate in the eye and be there 100% and tell them that, that you're honest with them and that you're there for them, whether you win or lose, if you can look each other in the eye and know that you're there for each other, that was all stuff that I said from something that happened the day before.
That's unbelievable. And I would just say as well, usually when actors say I want to go off the page, it's a disaster. So it's different. You have a writing background, so it helps. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I worked with an actor years and years ago, back in the mid-'90s, and I talked to the director and I said, I think this scene, it shouldn't be I wait for your line, you wait for my line. It should be kind of messy, And we did a take, and this actor said to me, man, that was awesome. He goes, can we write that down? I said, well, that defeats the whole purpose. I said, that's the point, is you don't write it down. But anyway, he was a good actor. He just couldn't improvise.
You also have another film of yours I love, Primary Colors, directed by the late, great Mike Nichols.
Oh, yeah.
And, I only crossed paths with Mike once, but it was everything I wanted it to be. How was working with him? I mean, it must have been something else.
Well, it's awesome. He was iconic,
Yeah.
And Elaine May, who was his partner, wrote the screenplay, and she was there all the time. And for the younger folk, they won't remember this, but it was even before my day, which is a long time ago. But they were, Mike Nichols and Elaine May were a comedy duo, and they were brilliant. So we got to actually witness it, right there in person every day. And the funny thing about Mike, if a director yells at somebody, it's kind of like, come on, don't yell. But it was a hell of a lot better than what Mike did, because it really just took you down to that. One day we were shooting a scene, and we wore suits mostly in the thing, and I was doing a big scene with Travolta and Kathy Bates and a bunch of people, and Emma Thompson. And somehow, when I was in the trailer, I forgot to put my tie on, and the wardrobe people didn't notice it either. And we're halfway through the scene, and it was going very well, swimmingly. And I guess the script supervisor must have said to Mike, he doesn't have his tie on and has to match this other scene. And all you hear from back in the darkness by the monitor, you hear Mike go, oh, come on. But
and did you have a moment where you're like, oh, I hope that oh, come on wasn't about me?
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Landman, fantastic. Season 2, I mean, I feel like I could say, you end up out of a job. And I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, have you, Billy Bob Thornton, have you ever been fired in real life?
I've quit more than I've been fired.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to think back. I mean, I had some crummy jobs. I mean, over the years. When I first got out of high school, I worked at a machine shop running a drill press. My first job was hauling hay. Then I went to a sawmill. And I have to do this because it's just too funny to me to not do it. But you know what that is? That's a sawmill worker ordering 5 beers. Anyway, so.
I'm glad you got out. I'm glad you got out.
But yeah, I never really got fired.
Yeah.
But I did quit a few times just because I was a long-haired hippie kid who
Yeah.
didn't want to work.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm glad you found your way into something you enjoy doing. We had your co-star, Ali Larter, was here last week, and it turns out shooting Landman Not Without Risk, she was saying she did a scene with you where she had to get emotional, and it was easy because during the scene, fire ants were just biting her feet.
Yes.
And did you know about this, or did she share that with you?
Oh, she shares everything. See, there's not much that she doesn't tell me. Yeah, we were doing this very emotional scene. It's the last scene of the season.
Yeah.
And we're standing there at the fence out there, and the coyote comes up and all this, and she goes, "Babe, these fire ants are eating me alive." And I said, "Okay, well, I don't know what to do about it. I mean, you don't have any shoes on,
Yeah.
so they just exist here."
Yeah.
So, I mean, I told one of the guys, one of the grips, I said, "Do you think you could get maybe a quarter apple box or something for her?" And it's like, "Well, no, because then she'll look like
Too
she's
tall?
6'3". Yeah. So,
So you just had to let the fire ants have their day.
yeah. No, I think it worked out okay for her.
She did say, but she had wonderful things to say about you, but she did say Sam Elliott, who joined the show, plays your father.
Yeah.
She said he's the most popular guy on set. What do you think about
She's
that?
in for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't care for that kind of talk?
It's really mean. She's my wife. No, Sam is the greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, when Sam comes around, everybody loves him. He's an icon, and we all love him so much. And I go back to the late '80s with Sam, so he's been a mentor and an inspiration to me for years and years and years. And we've worked together twice before this, but now I get to see him on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and it thrills everybody that he's there.
I was told today that you guys had worked together in the wonderful film Tombstone, and I
Right,
kind of
yeah.
forgot that you were in Tombstone because
Right.
you look a great deal different.
Yes.
And you kind of get knocked around a little bit, and that's not the Billy Bob I'm used to seeing.
That's right. Yeah. Kurt Russell slapped the piss out of me. Yeah. And it's funny. That was if I ever see a picture of those days,
Yeah.
because this is back, when you're a younger actor, you're like, well, I'm going to gain 75 pounds for this, and the next time I'm going to do this and whatever. I'll cut my own cheek, that kind of thing. After a while, as you get older, you stop doing that stuff. But for Tombstone and U-Turn, a movie I did with Sean Penn years ago, I gained 60 pounds. And then I was in a movie called Pushing 10 about air traffic controllers. And it actually was about Newark, right down the road here. And I got down to 128. Like, for instance, now I weigh probably 143, 144. I weighed 128.
Wow.
So I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Because it does not feel good.
No.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
No.
Also, we like the way you look right now. So
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
we're very happy with it. Also, your band Boxmasters is playing Stagecoach. Fantastic. Are you excited about that?
yeah, I am. Yeah, we've never played Stagecoach. And Stagecoach, I mean, we're a rock and roll band, but
Yeah.
I mean, last tour we opened for The Who. So it's like,
Right.
The Stagecoach is known as a country festival, but now they're mixing it up. They're
Yeah.
having rock and roll bands and country bands, and we play Stagecoach April 25th.
That's fantastic. Well, we're very happy you're keeping busy. It's always the best to see you, Billy.
Hey, you too,
Thank
buddy.
you, man.
Good to see you, buddy.
Billy Bob Thornton, everyone. Second season of Landman is streaming now on Paramount Plus.